What's up, you guys? It's Levi here. Welcome to the Cybersecurity Education channel, where I try to teach you guys cybersecurity concepts to help protect yourselves from being involved in a cyber incident. So, you may have stumbled upon this video and been like,
"Well, Levi, what the heck is this vishing stuff?"
well, today is your lucky day because I'm going to teach you guys everything you need to know about vishing. I'm going to teach you guys what vishing is. I'm going to teach you guys what type of scams you can be involved in with vishing. And most importantly, I'm going to teach you guys how to protect yourselves from becoming a vishing victim. Alright, and then I have a super beneficial tip to you guys out there that have elderly family members and friends that you talk to on a regular basis. So make sure that you stay to the end of this video to check out that tip. It will be super beneficial for them. Alright, so what is vishing? Vishing is when voice is used to try to scam someone. It's called vishing because it's the voice version of phishing. If you're not sure what phishing is, I have a video that talks about everything that you guys need to know about phishing. I'll put a card up above and you can check it out down below in the description if you want to check that out. Me personally, I just call it getting scammed by the phone. But someone created the word vishing because it sounded cool, so that's what it's called now. It's been around since the phone has existed, well before my time of being alive. Vishers usually use the internet to help hide themselves and hide their identity. It also helps them spoof phone numbers of legitimate organizations and people, making them even more convincing when they do call somebody because it looks like it's from the actual person that's calling. And then finally, vishers can use throwaway phones as well to help protect their identity. So vishing starts out when someone uses the phone to contact you or your organization and pretends to be a legitimate person or organization, and the main goal for that scammer or that visher is to get money, ding, 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 out of you or your organization. On a personal level, the scammer on the other side of the phone will try to hijack your brain to get information out of you and use that information against you. They can do this by trying to cause fear, such as, if you don't smash that like button, you will get in huge trouble. Your computer will explode. So smash that like button. They can also try to use intimidation. They can try to use excitement. And they can try to use urgency, all to get you to get information out about you or your organization that will cause harm to you and your organization and give the attacker or the scammer money. Alright, so these vishers, these scammers are out there and they want your money. What type of scams are out there and what type of emotions do they try to use to manipulate your mind to give out information about yourself or your organization? Well, the first one is a scammer calling you and pretending to be your bank and pretending that your bank account has been hacked and you need to give them your password, social security number, or a bunch of sensitive information so that they can recover your bank account. Then in turn, that person that's pretending to be your bank can take that information and use that to recover the bank account for themselves and get into your bank account and do whatever the F they want with your money. So in that situation, they're using your fear and they're using urgency to get you to give out that information. Because who wants to have their bank account hacked and not be able to access their money, right? The next case is a scammer pretending that you want a free trip to Disneyland, because who doesn't want a free trip to Disneyland? All you have to do is pay shipping and handling. So they're using that excitement because you'll send money to that scammer. And then guess what? You're not going to get a free trip. The scammer gets the money and boom, they're happy, right? Another scam that can happen to you is scammer looking up information about you on social media or your family members and finding out that one of your family members is in Canada on vacation right now. So what do after they find out that information? They ring, they give you a call, pretending to be the Canadian authorities and telling you that your family member is stuck in Canada and needs $1,000 to bail them out. So you're not thinking, they're using urgency and they're using fear, and you decide to pay that $1,000 to get that family member out without even thinking. And then 5 minutes later, you're looking on your family member's social media and you see that they're having a blast out there somewhere, right? Congratulations, you just fell for a scam, a vishing scam. All right, and then finally, the last case is gathering information for people in your organization to use that against your organization. The scammer could call various people inside of your organization and get information and piece all of that stuff together and build a profile on your organization and use that to hack into your organization and do whatever the F they want to your organization's network. They can also pretend to be IT support for your organization and call you up and say, hey, we need your password to do something, or we need a remote in your computer because we noticed that you have a problem on your system. And then once you fall for that, boom, guess what? They're into your system. Once they have access to your system, they can do whatever the F they want to your organization's network. So that's another thing to be careful about. So what can be done to help protect yourselves and your organizations from falling for these vishing scams? Well, the first thing is you got to be careful what information that you're giving out. If somebody is calling and asking for phone numbers, employee titles, addresses, social security numbers, user credentials, or any information involving the technology and processes that your organization is using, don't just freely give that information out. Make sure that they have a valid reason for getting that information, because somebody can go and call various people throughout your organization, and if they only give one piece of information out, if they're doing that with everybody and getting a different piece of information on a collective whole, they can take all the little pieces of information and use it to build a profile and use it to get into your organization's network. It doesn't take much information, so just be careful what type of information you're giving out and that the person calling has a valid reason to get that information. Make sure that you're using that brain of yours. You were given it for a reason, and you need to ask yourself, why is somebody asking for something? Why is somebody wanting you to take a certain action? What is their goal? You should be asking in your mind every single phone call that you get. I don't care who it is, because remember, phone numbers can be copied. So it doesn't matter who it is. You gotta ask what the person's goal is. Does it seem suspicious? Remember that legitimate businesses shouldn't be asking and making random requests for very sensitive information such as your social security number, passwords, financial account info, things like that. If you're unsure during a phone call, or if you're feeling pressure, you're feeling fear being put into you, you're feeling like your emotions are really high, just hang up the phone. And if you're questioning whether the organization is legit, hang up. Call the real number for the organization, not the one that they're giving you, and verify with that organization if you indeed have a legitimate purpose to talk to them in the first place. Ignore phone calls from numbers that you don't know. I personally do this. I'm sorry, if you're somebody that's trying to call me and you're not in my phone book, I'm not going to answer it. Because more than likely, if it's somebody that you don't know, you don't really have a reason to answer it in the first place. And remember, if it is somebody that you do know, remember that phone calls can be spoofed. So don't just assume that just because you know what the number is, the person is actually who the person is saying they are. If the direction of the conversation is going in a way that you wouldn't expect it to go, or it seems suspicious and they're asking you for info that they wouldn't normally ask you for, that should ring a bunch of red flags in your head, and you should think about hanging up the phone and reporting the incident to your IT department, contacting the real person that they're pretending to be. Also, a thing to remember nowadays is voices can be spoofed as well. It's not very hard for somebody to be able to copy somebody's voice. So a very sophisticated scammer can pick up somebody's voice off the internet if they have a video out there like me. They could spoof that person's number, call somebody that person would know because they found that out on social media, and pretend to be that person and have the same number as that person. And it can make it very, very difficult for somebody like you to pick that up. So you have to constantly go through in your head on each and every single phone call and ask what the goal is, and ask if there's being any pressure, intimidation, fear, and excitement put out on you. Finally, I have the tip that you guys have been waiting for this whole video. If you guys have elderly family members, friends, it's very difficult for those people to be able to protect themselves from vishing incidents. There's a very, very simple solution where you guys just need to set up a passcode with each other. So if you're calling them before that elderly person does anything, they ask you for the passcode. And if you don't know what the passcode is, or the person that's pretending to call the elderly person doesn't know what the passcode is, the elderly person hangs up. And that's how they can detect whether they're being involved in a vishing scam. If they start doing this with everybody that they're connected to, when a scammer does call, they're not going to know what the passcode is, and the elderly person can vet that without having to think very much. So it's just a tip for you guys to have your elderly friends and family members do, and it'll make it very easy for them to detect vishing incidents. So I hope this information is super useful for you guys. Remember, if you guys like this content, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, smashing that like button, and hitting that notification bell to help promote my content on YouTube, to help more people like you protect themselves from the terrible cybersecurity incidents that are out there in the world. I thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.